All right, well, welcome to our class today. This is the Orland Park Public Library. My name is Diane Gra, and I am an IT1 assistant here at the library. I'm going to be sharing with you the basics of Microsoft Word with you today. And again, I'm just going to show you the basics of what we can do with Word. And if you have any questions, you can just go ahead and add those in the chat. I'm going to take those questions at the end of our lesson today. And again, if you have any questions, like I said, at any time, you can put those in there and I will go ahead and look at those at the end of our class today. I want to share with you my screen just so that you can kind of see my slides as well as my screen. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen with you. So again, this is the basics of Microsoft Word. And again, my name is Diane Gra, for those of you just joining us for today's class. I want to share with you a couple of our upcoming classes that we have here in January. So feel free to join us at any time during any one of those classes. And all of our classes through the month of April will be through Zoom. And so our upcoming classes on January 12th will be digital photo storage, so you can see all the basics of how we go about storing photos on any one of our devices, and we'll give you tricks and tools to use for that. Computer 101 will be the basics of how you start and how you turn off a computer, how you use a keyboard and even a mouse. And then that will be on January 16th at 11. The next class that we have is on January 18th. We have Is Cloud Storage Right for Me? And again, we'll share with you how you can go about saving all of your information on the computer through the cloud and what's, why that's useful. And then Computer 201 will piggyback off of Computer 101, and we'll give you a little bit more tools to use when you're using the computer, like how you open and close documents, how you can open up an email account, and how you can even search online. And then our Intro to Selling on eBay will be on January 25th. And like I said, all of our classes will be via Zoom. You can see the links for all of our classes on the calendar of events on our main website. For today's class, again, this is just the basics for Microsoft Word. By the end of the class, you'll be able to open, create, and even save a Word document. You'll be able to share that document as an email attachment or even as a PDF. You'll be able to format the document and even add photos, hyperlinks, tables, and charts to your document. And then you'll even be able to create a cover letter and a resume for a job interview if you need that for the future. So I just want to share with you some of the basics of what Microsoft Word can do. Microsoft Word can help you create documents like letters, papers, even resumes. Now you can create flyers using Microsoft Word. You can create web pages. You can even create mailing labels and merge those labels with any letter that you write for a very large mailing. And then you can even create slideshow presentations. Now, we're not going to focus on any of those today because this is just a basics class. Again, we're just going to focus more on the creating documents today, because many of those other tasks take a long time to go over and explain. So we're just going to highlight some of the basics today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this part of my screen, and I'm going to share with you how we open up Microsoft Word. Okay, so how I open up Microsoft Word is I can do that in several different ways. Number one, I can do that by going to my Start button on the lower left of my screen. If I open up that Start button, I'll get a menu of choices for the different applications that I have on my computer. Now I can either search for it and just type in Word under search, and then it will come up as an app, and then I can choose to open it up, and it will go ahead and open it up for me. Another way that I can do that is if I chose not to do it from that, but I already had it loaded onto my computer, I can go ahead and just click on that and open that up as well. If you do not have Microsoft Word, you can always go to www.microsoft.com and you can create your own account, and you can even open up a document from there as well. But either way, however you open up Word, you're going to come up with a screen. And this is our main screen. This is our main page. Now, we've already had several documents. You can see all the different documents that we've had recently. You can see those on the left side of your screen. You can then see a menu of choices. And from your menu of choices, you can create a blank document, or you can use a template. For today's lesson, because I want to show you the basics of Word and what it can do, I'm just going to start off with a blank document, because this way we can then see some of the basic tutorials of Word. So I just click on this to open it up, and I come up with a screen like this. It's got my blank document in the center, and then I've got tools, or what we call a ribbon, up at the top. Now, if I look at the upper left of my screen, and it looks like a little computer disk, this is really our save. So at any time during your typing as you're creating your document, you can save it at any time. You can name your document anything you want to. If you don't use that, you can always go into File, and under the File tab, it has different choices, and we can create one and just do Save As. The first time you go to save, you want to go to Save As. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to choose then where I want to save it. Now you could choose the cloud if you are familiar with that. That's the OneDrive account, or you can choose to put it onto the PC. I like the PC the best, and then I like to put it into a folder. And you can choose a Word document if you want to, or you can choose it on the desktop. Today I'm just going to choose it on the desktop, and then I'm just going to name my file, and I'm just going to choose it as class example, because this is what I'm working with for today. And then I'm going to hit save. So now at any time, I can always go back up into that upper left, and I can just click on that little disk, and it'll save the document wherever I'm at. The next thing I want to share with you is if at any time during your creation, you can either choose to end it or close your document using the X. You can restore or change the size of your screen, and you can just choose that in the center, or you can minimize it if you want to stop doing your work at the time and just put it down in the lower, and then that will just kind of bring it down into your lower ribbon here. I'm going to bring that back just so that you can see. Now I have different tabs on my ribbon here at the top, and right now the tab that's chosen is Home. And from our Home tab, I get to choose different things to do. I can choose the type of font I want to use. If we bring this menu down using the little arrow, it gives us different choices, and we can choose any one of these to type with. I'll just choose Arial today, and you get to choose then the size of your words, the font that you're using. And so you could choose any one of it. The basic one that we would use would be about 12. That's a good size for when you end up printing out your document. That's a good size for most people to be able to read from. But if you need to raise it or even lower it, you can do that at any time during the creation of your document. Next, you could choose if you want to bold your type. So I'll just type a couple of words just so that you could kind of see what it looks like. And so even from here, if I wanted to bold any of these, I can just choose the B, and that makes my font bold. If I want to italicize any of my words, I can choose the I to italicize my words. Or if I need to underline something, I'm going to choose underline, and then it will underline anything that I do. I'm going to erase this, so I can choose my backspace and I can just go ahead and erase it. If I've typed something I did not like, maybe it was something that was misspelled, I can always choose to put my cursor in the front of my word, and I can hold on my mouse and I can highlight everything that I want to do. And then if I need to, I can just hit my backspace and I can just delete it all at the same time. Now, the next thing that you can do from your home tab is you can choose to create font that's in different colors. And so the A here will show us that it's automatically black, but if I wanted to, I can choose any other color. Maybe I want to make something red in my document. I can just click on the color and I can go ahead and start typing, and then my font now is red. If I wanted to, I can also make that bold. I can make it italicized. It doesn't really matter, but that is the style that I've chosen. Also in our ribbon here, you will notice that we have normal, no spacing. It's got headings. These are different styles that you can use for your document. Right now it's on normal, but if I wanted to, let's see that I've already kind of created something. I can choose to have different styles. My headings, you can already see they kind of change as I change the different type that I want. But for right now, what I want to do is I'm going to just choose normal. Sometimes that is good if you are making up flyers or things like that and you want to change kind of the style that you want to use for your different documents. So that is a good choice to use. The next thing that you can do from this home page is you can use the find, replace, and even select tools here in the far right. Now, find is if you have a large paper that you've written and you want to search out for certain words. Maybe you need to put a hyperlink or a comment somewhere. You can do that. You can type in your document, and then you can always go into find by the drop-down menu, click on that, and then you just get in the navigation menu that comes up on the left, you just type in that word. Like you type in, let's say, bargain. I don't know. You could type in any word you want to. And then it'll tell you if there are any matches or any results that you could see. And obviously I don't have that in my wording here, but that would just then go and it will search that out and show you where that is within your document. The next thing I want to share with you again is just to highlight some of the different tabs. So that's really the home tab that we use. We use that often a lot. That's more of your default tab that comes up when you open up Microsoft Word. The next tab that you can use is Insert. And your Insert tab allows you to insert things within your document. You can insert another blank page if you want to. Automatically as you begin writing, or I should say typing your document, it will automatically go to the next page once you are at the bottom of your first one. But you can always insert another blank page if you want to. You can insert blank page breaks at any point in time during your document. This will allow you, let's say you only typed up half of it and you want to insert a page break, you can go ahead and do that rather than entering all the way down till you hit the bottom and then going to the next page. It will automatically put in that next page for you. I'm going to show you in a little while how to insert tables, photographs, and then even shapes within our documents. So that is really through this tab here. Our next tab is our design tab. And again, this allows us to change the way that we want to design. I'm not going to use this one though today because this is used more for different types of papers or even like flyers. But that's not really what we're going to do today. Through the layout tab, this allows us to make sure that our margins are correct, the size that we want them to. We can even choose if we want to have our paper either go vertically or either horizontally, depending on the orientation that we want to choose for our document. We can even choose to add columns if we want to. Let's say we're maybe making a newsletter and we want to put columns within our pages, you can do that through this tab as well. Through the references, this allows us, let's say we're doing a paper and we need to insert footnotes within our paper. That's what this tab is useful for. This tab allows us to make sure that we are using the right style, the right, if we have to add a bibliography or even a table of contents, we can do that through this tab. So this is really useful for students, teachers, those of us that are writing papers. We can use that as well through that. We're not going to use the mailings tab today because, as I mentioned earlier, that takes a lot of time to go over. But I just wanted you to know that that is also in our ribbon at the top of our screen. The review tab is useful for once we have a document, we can also check our spelling and even our grammar through the document we've written. Maybe we came across a word and maybe we've used that word too many times. So now we want to kind of change up our language and our vocabulary. So now we want to maybe look up a word. We can use a source for that. We can even check our word count. Maybe we're writing a letter that's going into the local newspaper, or maybe we're writing a little blurb for the newspaper and we just need a quick count. Or even for a paper that you're writing, you can do that through here as well. You can always change some of the text that you're writing, and maybe you want to change and put that into a different language. You can do that as well through the language. Or even if you had something that came to you, you can always use the translate tab as well for that. So that's what a good tab is used for here for our review. And then viewing is more just how you want to view this. If this is just a regular document that you're going to use, it'll just have the print layout. But if you need to put this on a website, then it will change your view for that. We're not going to use that for today. I just wanted you to be aware of what those tabs are. I'm going to go back to our home tab now, and I'm just going to share with you a little bit about how we would type a letter. So that way you can see some of the different tabs that I'm going to use and the different tools that are available to us. So we can type our document. When it comes up on the screen, we can feel free to just go ahead and type. So I'm just going to use today's date, and you'll see as I start to type, it might come up with already what today's date is. And if I want to date it for today, all I have to do is hit enter, and it will just come up with January 9th, 2021. Now, I've already started typing and it's already underlined. Well, I might not want it to be underlined. And again, I can just go back using my mouse, put it back to the beginning, and I can just go ahead and highlight it. Now this menu comes up, and this is so useful. Rather than going at the top of my screen, I can just pull this up. And if I hit the left side of my mouse and I just click on underline again, it will take that already off. And I can just remove it and just go ahead and continue to type. As I hit enter, it will just go ahead and enter now onto a new line. If I want to make sure that my spacing is correct, I'm going to go back into my layout, and this is where I'm going to change for my spacing. And I want to make sure that I have spacing at 0 and 0, so I can just make sure that that's correct. I'm going to make sure that my margins are at 0 and 0, just because I want to make sure that I'm doing a correct letter. I can go back then into home just so I have the rest of my tools that I want to use. I can also go up here in my ribbon, and I can, under by paragraph, click on that and bring up a whole set of new ideas that I want to use. If I want to make sure that my letter is aligned properly, I might, instead of having everything go to the left, I might want everything justified, so everything is equal together. If I want everything to the left, then I just choose left. If I want everything in the center, I'll just choose center. Maybe I want everything to the right and I'll choose right. But for today, for a letter, I want it justified. So I'm going to choose that, and it will make all my documents the same, all my pages. Now for my spacing, rather than having it multiple, I can do either single spacing, which then makes everything go together, or I can have everything at 1.5 or even double. if I'm writing a paper, sometimes professors or teachers want it to be double spaced. And so I'll make sure that I have it on that. Maybe they want it single spaced. For a letter though, I'm going to choose single space. So I'm going to click on that. And you can already see in the preview what that looks like. If I choose something different, if I chose double, then you can see what that's going to look like in the preview. So that's why this is handy. I'm going to choose single space, and then I'm going to click on OK. And then from everything now that I type, everything's going to be single space. So from here, I'll just choose to write. And I can just type up how I would type up any other letter. So I have to Mr. Joe Smith at 123 Orland Brook Drive, Orland Park, Illinois, 60462. And I'll just say, Dear Joe, and you can use your tab then to go ahead and tab over or indent over one as you're typing out a regular letter. You know, thank you for meeting with me yesterday. I enjoyed our talk. And I look forward to meeting with you again. Thank you. And then you can put your name. Now, for a letter, if you are going to print this off and then send this to Joe Smith, you can leave a couple of spaces in between. That way, if you want to sign it, now you can go ahead and sign it on your own. If you don't want to sign it, there is a font that you can choose, and you can go up at the top and under the choices that you have for your font, you can search for one that has more of a calligraphy look to it, like this one here, or you could choose a different type of script. If you choose something like this, you can see that as you type, it changes then the font style. And you can use that even if you want to sign a document. But I always like to give at least 3 or 4 enters or spaces, I should say, in order for me then to sign it after I print it off and then send that off. And then you can always put your name. I'm going to go back to Arial just because that's what I was using. And at the top, once you click on that, it will show you some of the fonts that you recently used. So for this one, I'm just going to go back to Arial, and I'm just going to put my name, and then I'm be able to print that off. If I want to print this, then I can always go into File, and I can then just choose to print from my menu. So I'll click on that, and then I'm going to get a different set of choices. So I'm going to choose which printer I want to print it from. I'm going to choose how many pages I want to print it from. I'm going to choose whether I want to collate it. Maybe I want to print this on double-sided. Maybe I have several different pages to this letter or to my document, and I can choose to do that. I can also choose the orientation. Portrait is up and down vertically, or landscape is more horizontal, and I could choose that. So I can choose that, and then I can hit my print, and then I'll go ahead and I'll print it to my printer. If I don't want any of this, I can then just go back out and I can just get to my screen. And I can go ahead and, like I said, save this at any time. I can always click on that little disc in my upper left, and that'll go ahead and save my document. Now I want to share with you some other tricks from our tools. I'm going to share with you now how we can go ahead and insert a photograph. Maybe you've written this letter and maybe you want to attach a recent photograph of yourself, or maybe you want to put something in there from, let's say, a website. You can choose to do that through the Insert tab. So I'm going to click on the Insert tab, and I'm going to choose Pictures. Now, there are 2 choices, as I said. One is through Pictures. If you already have pictures on your laptop or your desktop computer, you can choose from there, or you could choose to click on online photos. I'm going to choose the online photos, and it will automatically just load this for you. Through this screen, you can then choose to find an image, and let's just choose an image. It doesn't really matter. I'll just click on lion, I'll type that in there, and then I'll just hit enter, and then photographs automatically come up. Now, there are some images that you cannot use because sometimes you have to pay for images. I like to do some of the free ones. Also, just to know, sometimes some of the clip art doesn't automatically go right. And again, so just be aware of some of the images. The ones that come up in the beginning are usually the ones that are safe to use and ones that are not too large. If you tend to use a large photograph, you may have to resize it for your document. I'll show you how we're going to do that. So I'm just going to choose this image of this lion by just clicking the box, and then I'm just going to click on insert. Now at the bottom here, it tells me how many images I am inserting. You can insert more than one at the same time. It just may take a little bit just based off the size of those images that you're using. But I'm just going to click on this one, and I'm just going to click on insert. And now it's going to come up. Now, wherever your cursor is, that's where your photo is going to go. So if I had my cursor up here, I'm just going to go ahead and just show you that real quick. I'm going to delete this. Wherever my cursor is, that's where the image is going to go. So now you see where my cursor is. It's at the end of, again, after that first line, that first sentence. I'm going to choose that again, and I'm going to search for it. And I'm going to select it, and I'm going to insert it, and it's going to insert it right there. So make sure that you're aware of wherever your cursor is, that's where you want your image to go. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to put my cursor again at the end of my name, and I'm going to again go into insert, online photo, and I'm going to click on lion, click on my image, and I'm going to insert it. Now, as I said, I can now choose to resize it. And this is how we can go ahead and resize our images when we have posted them in, or I'm sorry, pasted them into our document. You can choose at the top to orientate it a different way. So this little circle here helps us choose which way we want to go with our image. Maybe we want to be, creative and do it a different way, but I'm just going to make sure that it's right side up. I can also choose, because I have my dots in different spots here on my picture, I can choose, if I choose the upper right dot and I just use my mouse and I left click on that, I can drag it down to resize it and make it smaller. If I want to make it bigger, I can do the same thing. But I tend to usually use the lower corners in order to make them larger. So I'm going to choose the lower right corner. And again, I'm going to left click on my mouse and I'm going to drag it towards one of the corners then of my page, and I'm going to make it larger. So you can resize this any way you want to. Now this box that has come up here, this is our layout option box. This actually helps us where we can add text if we want to our image. Like let's say we want to caption it in a way. If I click on this, it then will tell us how we can put different text within our image. If I want to add and put it in the center, or I want to have it maybe on the outside, I can choose to do that. So let's say I want to add text to this. Now, this ends up coming up, and this is where I'm going to end up putting my text, and it's going to be at the bottom of this. So we'll just say lion is sitting quietly. And see, now I've ended up putting text by my image. If you want to, you can add a chart to your document. I'm going to show you that now. We're going to highlight our insert tab screen choice, and I'm going to now choose to put in a table or a chart. Now I can choose a table, or I can go over here, and if I wanted to, I can put in a chart, and the chart can be different choices. And once I click on the chart, you'll see that I can choose a template in order to make my, one of my own using my own data. I can choose to make it a line. I can choose to make it a pie chart, a bar graph, whatever. So I'm going to just choose for right now, just a simple pie chart. And I'm going to then click on OK. And remember, wherever my cursor is, that's where it's going to go. Now, once I put in a chart like this, it's going to end up opening up what we call an Excel spreadsheet. And I can just put in data and that will match the different spots here on my chart. So let's say I am doing a report and I am looking at some of my, let's say my lemonade sales for different quarters. And maybe I made, $100 the first quarter. I'll just put that number in. And maybe my next quarter, I ended up only making $50. So that I'll put in there and you'll see it already starts to change based off of my data. Maybe my third quarter, I had $75. And maybe my last quarter, because it's heading into fall and winter time, wasn't really, a fantastic quarter. Maybe I only made $25. So once I put that data in, it then highlights what I have, and then I can just go ahead and I can insert that as well. So that is how you insert your chart. If I wanted to, I can create my own table. So from my Insert tab, I can create a table. And from my table, I can choose how many columns and how many rows I want. Now, if I only wanted it to be one, you'll already see that I only have one bar, but maybe I wanted two. Now, underneath my pie chart that I already put in, you'll see I have different spaces. From this, I can create one that's as large as maybe 10 by 10, and I can then put in my own data from there. For the sake of our lesson today, I'm just going to choose to do a 3 by 2 table, and I can just go ahead and do that, and that comes up on my screen. If I wanted to, I can choose the different styles. Maybe I don't want to have my border shown, so I'm going to choose that, or maybe I'm just going to choose to have more of an open table. I can choose that from the top, or maybe I do want to have my borders shown. So I'm going to choose this one for right now. And once that comes up, I can just go ahead and put anything I want to. Maybe I'm going to create a list of things maybe I need from the grocery store. Maybe this is a good way to kind of keep things organized. So maybe I need, lettuce. I'm going to type. I can choose from here whether I want everything to be centered or whether I want everything to be on the left. Right now, everything's to the left. If I wanted to change the direction of how everything's going, I'm just going to choose to highlight everything by using my left click of my mouse and highlighting everything on there. And then when my menu comes up, I'm going to have a tool on here that's going to let me choose how I want to do it. If I want to change my color font, or if I want to make everything centered, now everything's going to be centered just so that it looks nice. I'll keep it like that. And then I can go ahead now and everything I type, because I highlighted every single one of those cells, everything's now going to be typed in the center. So maybe I need lettuce and tomato. Maybe I need bread. To move from cell to cell, all I have to do is hit tab and it just goes from one cell to the next. And maybe I need milk, and maybe I need chips, and I'll just highlight one more and I'll just put cranberries. Okay, so there's my list if I wanted to. You can use this chart for anything that you want to within your document. Now to get out of it, again, I just kind of click anywhere and now I'm able to. If I wanted to add more, I can just hit enter and more comes up. If I want to, maybe I made a mistake and didn't want to add that, in my upper left corner here next to my little save disk, I have an arrow that has an undo. So I want to maybe click on that because maybe I didn't need any other extra rows to my chart. So I'm going to click on undo, and then that will bring me back to where I was. Okay. So the next thing that I want to share with you, again, is how we look at spelling. So I'm going to spell something wrong, and you're going to see how I can use this tool to spell something correctly. If something is spelled incorrectly, I can just go into my review. I can click on my spelling and grammar, and that will bring this up, and I can see everything that's highlighted, everything that will be spelled wrong. So if they think that my last name is spelled wrong, it will highlight that, and I can choose then to either change it or change all, or I can choose then to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. And so I'm going to go to the next thing on there. If I want to, I can then just find what is spelled wrong next, and I can do that. So then I can choose, I cannot see everything. I'm just going to hit on resume just so that I can then see everything. So here I'm just going to ignore it because I know that my last name is spelled correctly. So I'm going to ignore that. If it says that it's complete, I'll just hit OK. Now, you'll see that when I chose this word salad and I ended up spelling it incorrectly, you'll see that it has a red squiggly line underneath. A red squiggly line means that I have spelled a word incorrectly. So I'm going to go back up into my spelling and grammar, and now you'll see that I do have a correct choice. If the correct choice that I want is highlighted first, I can click on that and I can just hit change, and it will automatically change it into my document. And I just hit on OK when it is done. The next thing I want to share with you is how to insert. Let's say we want to have a document and we want to have a header at the top of our page. I'm going to choose how, I'm going to show you how we do that. So I'm going to click on our Insert tab. And from our Insert tab, I have different choices all the way over. I'm going to click on Header. And if I click on this, it will give me choices of what type of header I want to do. Now, this is really good for papers and other documents that we have, especially when we have multiple pages to this. So I can choose just a blank one. It's not going to have a border around it or anything. You can choose one that's going to maybe have different types. Maybe this is good for a lesson plan if you want to have it a certain way, maybe having the name of the lesson, or maybe the date of the lesson, or even, you know, what type of class you're going to have this for. Maybe you want to be fancy. Maybe you want to have a border with it. So I'll choose this one here, and it'll have a border. Now at the top, it will then allow me to name my document. So for this one, I'm just going to choose letter. And once I type what I want to name it, and I just hit enter, it is now there for everything. So and now on every page it will have for the letter. If I want to, just move this over. If I want to, I can then see that it has letter. Now that's my header. If I wanted to have something at the bottom, that's what we call a footer. And that's good if you're going to have any other, like I said, any other paper, and you want to put maybe a page number at the bottom. You can use this to put your page number, or you can just choose page number from this tab as well. And it can let you know where you want that page number. If you wanted to the left, to the right, to the center, however you want to do that. I'll just choose to do it then from page number. And so we'll choose then to put our page number all the way on the right side. And you'll see then I have 2 pages. So this one's page number 2. If I scroll back up using my arrows on the right, you'll see that I have this one as page number 1. And then I just close it out to go back to my document. The next thing that I wanted to share with you, again, from this document, is how to insert another page. So let's say I wanted to have a letter And now I want to insert a blank page or a cover page. I can choose a cover page and it will just highlight whichever page I want to. I can choose a template if I wanted to and add it from there. Or maybe I want to just insert another blank page and it will just insert that towards the end of my document, and I can have however many pages I want to. I can choose that as well. Now the thing that I want to share with you, again, if you are interested and you need to, again, go ahead and send this off, you're going to save your document, and then you're going to go ahead and from File, you can choose then to save, or I'm sorry, to share this. Let's say you want to email your letter. You're going to choose Share, and you can choose then to email this. You can even save it to the cloud. So the cloud is nice because, again, you can work on this document anywhere. You don't have to use your own computer. If you work on it from home and you go into work and you want to work on it somewhere else, you can do that. That's really the cloud. And that allows you, again, to access your document anywhere. It also allows you to have this in the cloud. And let's say you want to share this then with someone else who you want to maybe edit your document or just kind of go over it, proofread it for you before you send this off to someone. This is a good choice for you to use. If you want to email it, you can go ahead also and email it. If you click on email, it gives you choices, and you can choose to send this as an attachment to your email. You can even save this as a PDF. If you have images or other hyperlinks, things like that, it might be a good idea then to save it as a PDF. But you can also save it as an attachment. So I'll just click on this just so that we do this for today. And it'll say that it can't save it because I don't have the mail feature, but I just wanted you to see that, because if you have that enabled on your computer, you can do that. You can also just go ahead, save this, open up your email, and then you can, knowing where you have saved your document, go ahead and just bring up the attachment that way. If you want to save it as a PDF, I'll show you that as well. Again, we'll just go into File. We're going to go into Share, and I'm going to go into Email. And again, I'm going to click on the Save as PDF, and it will automatically then save it as a PDF. And then if I bring up my email and I have that on my computer, I can type to whom I want to send this to. You'll see now it's here as my PDF. And in the large space, I can just type in my message, and then I can just click send, and it will go ahead and send my email with my attachment saved as a PDF. So I'm going to exit from there. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to bring up now another document for us to use. We're going to I'm just going to share with you how you would write or create your own resume. So I'm going to exit from here, and I'm just going to go ahead. Again, if you have Word on your computer, you can go ahead and bring that up, and just by clicking on it, or again, if you go into Start, you can go ahead and find it that way. Now, when you bring this up, again, it will have your latest document that you have, and you'll see that I had already created one with you, this class example that we used before. But now if I want to create a resume, I can choose to use any one of the templates that they have here, or I can create one of my own. It's nice that, again, I can choose different styles for whatever type of field I'm searching for. And I can want to make my resume stand out, because job reviewers are always looking at hundreds of resumes, and you want yours to stand out. So again, you can choose any one of these, and the templates are really nice because they have everything laid out for you, and all you have to do is put in your own information then within the different categories. I'm going to choose one that just kind of looks more modern, and I'm just going to choose this one. It's a modern chronological cover letter. And then I have one that's just a modern chronological resume. So first, I'm just going to choose on the resume. Let's just pretend that we've already created our cover letter. Now, when I choose that, it's going to show me what that resume is going to look like. It'll give me sort of a preview, and I'm just going to create that. So I'll click on Create, and it will then bring up my template. So now all I have to do is just change it. So where it says, first name, I'm just going to choose to click on that, and I will just go ahead and type it. If I go ahead and I want to now put my last name in, I will click on that and put my last name. Where it has address, I can go ahead and put my address. Although for here, I'm just gonna do a generic one, and I'm gonna just put in my phone number. You can also use tab to go to the next part of this, and I will show you that as well. So tab then brings me to the next part. So I do have an email. We'll just kind of put one here, email@gmail.com. If I have a LinkedIn, I can choose that. If there's something I do not have, I can just go ahead, highlight it, and then just delete it. And then it just takes that away. So if I don't have a Twitter, blog, or portfolio, I can again just click on it to highlight it, and then I can just delete it. And anything I do not have, we'll just go ahead and delete. So that is that part. Now, if you want to, maybe you have an objective that you want to use, you can type it. And again, if you don't, anything you don't have, you can just go ahead, highlight it, and then just use your delete key in order to delete it. Now, what's nice about templates is, again, it already has your margins already laid out for you. It has your different categories highlighted. For your resume, it will show you, you could put your experience, maybe your education, what you have, and then even your skills, which is great. Now you want to make sure that when you have a resume and you put your skills in here, that you use, the very basic ones that you have. Choose the ones that you use most often, and you're going to put those lists of strengths there. You can even put down different bullet points, which is great. For your activities, you can choose to do that. Maybe you volunteer. If at any time you want to change these categories, you can do that just by highlighting it. If maybe you didn't like activities, maybe you wanted to talk about your volunteer, your volunteer experience. So you can choose that, and it will keep that same font, the same style, and then even the same size for that. And again, you can choose that. If you need to, you can go on to the next screen, to the next page, just by hitting enter. If at any time you want to use some of the same styles, which is something nice, you can choose to go up here. I'm going to show you something that's really neat. If you like this and you want to add another category to this, you're going to highlight this by left clicking on your mouse and then highlighting it just by dragging it across. Now, if you like that, you're going to then copy this by using this, what we call this format painter. And what's nice is I'm going to click on this, which is found under my home tab. I'm going to click on it. It's going to automatically copy that. And if I put it now into another section, it's now going to, again, paste it. And so I can then just go ahead and paste it there. So I can just go ahead and type, and then I have it right there. And now it looks like what I have from the previous heading. Okay, so, and at any time you can go ahead, save it, and then you can print this off and use this for your resume. Again, you can save it anywhere you want to, just by going into File and then Save As. Like I said, I like to save it all to my desktop, but again, you can put it into a file if you want to, and then you can just create the file that you want to. For this, I'll just, again, use class resume example, and then I'll just hit save, and then it will be there for me. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I want to see if you have any questions. If you have questions, you can go ahead and put those then in the chat, and I will go ahead and answer those questions for you. I want to thank you all for coming today. what I can do too is I can go ahead and I can share with you again just some of the highlights that we've had within our class today. So again, just so that we can review, you learned in today's class, you learned how to open up Microsoft Word, and now you'll be able to create your own document or even use a template whenever you want. From the main screen, you'll be able now to save and undo and repeat any functions that you want to for your documents, just by going into that upper left portion of your screen. You'll even be able to minimize, resize, or even close any of your documents by going into the upper right part of your screen. And you can even zoom in and out of a document as well, or even change the type of display. There's a slider at the bottom of your screen that will show you that. The next thing that you can do is now you can also count the number of pages that you use, or even the words, the number of words that you use for your document. You can size the margins and even indent as you wish from the layout tab on the ribbon of your heading. You can add columns and even change the spacing from there too. From your Home tab, it allows you to change the font type, the size, the color, even the alignment, or even the background color if you wish. You can bold, underline, and italicize text. You can even find, replace, and select functions from there too. From the Insert tab, you can also insert a blank page, a cover page into your document. You can insert a chart, a table, an image, even add a header or footer if you want to, page numbers. You can use a text box or even word art into your document. And then from your Review tab, it allows you to check your spelling and your grammar. You can use a thesaurus. You can add comments if you like, if you're sharing your document, or even check your word count. For further resources on what you can do with the basics of Microsoft Word, you can go to www.microsoft.com and you can learn a little bit more about Microsoft Word. You can also go to different sites like gcflearnfree.org has various videos that you can search for different topics, and they're all free tutorials that you can see on there. So you can just click on that by going to that website. You can always also go to YouTube and you can look for Orland Park Library's set of videos by just finding in the search bar the Orland Park Public Library, and then search for our videos. And you'll even get to see this class again and use this class as a resource for you for when you are using your own home computer. And then you can also just go to our website at orlandparklibrary.org. We have a set of resources there. I will even have here at the library a set of resources that you can come and pick up at any time during our open library hours. By just stopping by the second floor, I will have little cheat sheets and other resources here by the adult computers that you can pick up at any time. Or feel free to call one of us here at the library, speak to any one of our IT techs at 708-428-5171. And again, I look forward to seeing many of you as you stop into the library, and you know, we can help answer anything that you may have. So if you don't have any other questions, I just want to thank you for joining me today. You can feel free to leave our chat, but if you have anything else, you can feel free to just let me know in that chat below. So thank you and have a great day. Thank you.